We're going to spend some time looking at those CloudFormation templates. If you have not already downloaded them, please do so now. We'll start by looking at the app-stack.json file. This template defines most of our resources, but it references another template named networkstack.json, which defines our VPC and subnets. Go ahead, please, and load those files up in your favorite text editor, and we will get started. I want to warn you up front that we're going to be jumping around these templates a lot. I'm not doing this to aggravate you. Even if we created all of our resources manually, we would be jumping around the AWS Service Console, so jumping around is unavoidable. This template contains three major sections: parameters, resources, and outputs. I've actually collapsed these sections to make things more readable, so this might look different in your text editor. Now, focus your attention please on the resources section of the template on line 70. I'm going to go ahead and expand this section here. Now, the first resource defined here is named Network Stack. This is called the logical name. It's just an arbitrary name for the resource. The Network Stack resource actually references another stack. This might seem strange considering we haven't created another stack. What's going to happen is that CloudFormation is going to create another stack using the template defined by this parameter named Network Stack Template URL. Now, what is Network Stack Template URL? Well, look under the parameters section on line 4. I'm going to expand this section as well. CloudFormation will look in this section for a parameter named Network Stack Template URL. Where is this parameter? Well, let's scroll down to line 41. And there it is. This is where the value for the parameter is defined. The value is a URL pointing to a template stored in S3. Referencing one stack from another stack is called nesting a stack. The app-stack.json template we're looking at now is going to be the parent stack, and it is going to use the network stack.json template to deploy a nested stack. What catches some people off guard is that the nested stack, the network stack, is actually going to get created before other resources defined in the app-stack template. So let's take a look at the network stack.json template. This template defines most of the network resources for our application. It's going to create a VPC with the CIDR 10.0.0.0/16. And if we scroll down here to around line 25, it's going to create public subnet A in zone US East 1A with the CIDR of 10.0.10/24. Now if we scroll down to line 40, here we have public subnet B with the CIDR of 10.0.20/24 in zone US East 1B. So you get the idea here. It's going to create the VPC infrastructure that we created by hand earlier in the course. This is why I had you do that manually. You already know what VPC resources are in this template because we walked through them earlier. The template will create an internet gateway, and if you go to line 79, it's going to create a default route for our public subnets. The destination CIDR is all zeros/0, which is the default route, and the route points to the internet gateway. Now, if you jump to around line 117, you can see here it creates the private subnets in zone US East 1A and US East 1B. Now, if we go to line 138, it's also going to allocate an elastic IP address, create a NAT gateway, and associate that EIP to the NAT gateway. Okay, there's one more thing I need to show you here. Now, please jump to the outputs section around line 206. I'm going to go ahead and expand this section here. Remember that the app stack template references and depends on this network stack template to create the network resources that our application will need. This means that the app stack will need to know the VPC identifiers, the subnet identifiers, and other identifiers for the resources in the network stack. That is where this outputs section comes in. This network stack is going to pass those identifiers to the app stack so the app stack knows what VPC and subnets to use for the resources that it creates, such as the load balancers. The network stack passes this information to the app stack using what is called a stack output. An output is just a key value pair combination that CloudFormation makes available to other stacks and to you directly via the AWS CLI command AWS CloudFormation describe-stacks. All right, let's jump back to the app stack template and take a look at the two application load balancers that it is going to create.